What's up YouTube? So we're in the garage today and that can only mean one thing. Installation time for a new part I came across with, which is the Nameless long step equal length headers for the FRS, BRZ and GT86. Doing a little maintenance on the car, changing the oil today. See that disgusting oil right there. Changed it with the Motul 8100 Eco Light along with the K&N air filter, which is kind of annoying to see the logo on the back of this. I've tried several times to actually twist it a certain way and it just kept on coming out that way. But other than that, I got the maintenance done and all set. And what better time to install this part right here onto the car. Alright, so a little backstory on how I got those headers. I was browsing along Craigslist for my free time looking for BRZ parts, and I came across this headers right here, or header as people call it, and I saw it priced around $300. And doing some research about it, these headers actually cost a lot of money out from Nameless, brand new. They're around $1,200. And as you guys can see here, this is ceramic coated black, which is another $300 option if you were to get it from Nameless. And as far as I know, I think they've discontinued these headers and you can't even buy them anymore. So I decided to go ahead and snag these along and actually try out equal length headers with my setup right now to see how it sounds like. While I saw them for $300 and that's already a good deal, the guy was also selling an ECU Tech dongle kit for the FRS BRZ, and those cost around, I believe, new about $375. Now the guy was selling it for $80, so I kind of negotiated with him to have the ECU Tech kit bundled with the headers for $300, and fortunately enough, he agreed and sold them to me for that price, $300. Thing is, I already do have aftermarket headers, which are the Tomei headers, as you guys can see right there. I'm in the middle of disassembling it or taking it off. And as much as I love the Subi Rumble, I'm just curious to see how my setup would sound like with the equal length headers. So that's the reason for why I'm installing that today. So whichever one I kind of choose, I am not losing that much money because I could always sell the Tomei headers or the Nameless headers for a little bit more than what I paid for it. And that way I kind of killed two birds with one stone by trying out what equal length header sounds like with my setup and actually making a little bit of money on the side. And with that, I'm gonna go ahead and try to install these headers. Hopefully it's straightforward and no problems at all. What I'm worried about is the design of these headers. They're kind of close to how an Ace header would be, if I remember. And I've done my research a little bit and saw that these headers actually perform well. Are considered one of the best headers that are designed for the FRS BRZ. And though I am on an OFT tablet, so that's not going to matter that much right now. I'm just going along on how different the sound might be when these headers are on the car. But maybe in the future I can do a custom dyno tune or maybe an E-tune, since I do have the ECU Tech dongle now, and go from there. But aside from that, one of my main issues or concern is that long step header design. So when you do put those headers on, it's gonna be along over here around the fan and the pulley. So I'm not sure if that's going to be a huge problem since they are ceramic coated, which helps keep temperatures low. But then again, I've heard stories of people melting fans, wires and all that, but hopefully, cross my fingers, none of that happens. And as well as it's already winter time today, so hopefully not much heat soaking happens in there. Just really wanted to try what equal length headers sound like with my car, with the setup I have right now. So that's basically what's making me do this. And in addition to that, I noticed that these headers make the engine bay really hot actually. So out of curiosity too, I wanted to see if ceramic coating the headers make a big difference on temperature wise on the engine bay, because in addition to that, my coil packs are actually burning up. You guys can see there, I've wrapped them in golden foil golden tape, but to no avail. They're still overheating, so it might be time to change them, or maybe even prolong them by switching out to those headers, since temperature will definitely go down with the ceramic coating in them. So other than that, I'm gonna go ahead and get started on this and install it. Again, with every installation, always gotta take off the aluminum heat shield and also the black heat transmission shield. Let's look at it right here. So again, the transmission shield is a 10mm bolt, while the aluminum heat shield is a 10mm bolt. Other than that, pretty straightforward. Gotta take off the overpipe and header bolts right here, so I can undo that, take the headers off. Other than that, that's about it. Hopefully we could just shove the header in there and it fits. Once you have that done, you can go ahead and take off the header bolts, which are right over here. 1, 2, 3, and here as well. So to do that, you would need a extension socket and a deep socket, and again, it is a 14mm bolt. Once you take that off, the header should just go down with no problem. To take off the O2 sensors on there, because if you don't, then they could just pull and break on you. So friendly reminder. So another thing is, a couple people usually have trouble taking off that bolt right there or screwing it in. The reason being is because of this. As you guys can see, if I'm looking straight through it, there's no way I can access that with regular straight ratchets. So if I do have this ratchet right here, there's really no way for me to reach. And there's not socket in there, but you get what I mean. This is on the way. So to combat that, I do suggest you guys buy this crowfoot wrench set. And what that's gonna allow you to do is put this on here like this. Have that on, all you gotta do is fit that in there like so, and tighten it or either loosen it. That I found that helps a lot on taking off hard to reach bolts like these. And what's great about this is you can also use this on a torque wrench. So definitely get something like this. So here's where we're at when we have the headers out. I'm gonna go ahead and reuse these header gasket that I have because they're relatively new. I just put those on around 1,000 miles before putting these headers on. The sensors are on, tightened. This header should be ready to go. Another thing to keep in mind if you guys do get this headers is, as you guys can see, this is a bigger diameter than regular headers. So in this case, I feel like this is close to 3 inch. I didn't really measure it. And I was worried about the fitment and inquired Nameless about this. So what they told me is to get this gasket thing right here, which would close up that hole nicely to a 2.5 inches, which will then hopefully fit perfectly in your overpipe. So on their site, this is $20. I do feel kind of rip off, maybe so much, just a little bit, because it's just a regular, to me it feels like a regular gasket, but hopefully that'll stop me from having leaks anytime in the future if I do decide to keep these headers on there. Also comes with hardware, so I guess for 20 bucks it's reasonable enough. So alright, let's get this headers in. Alright, so after a couple of hours of trying to put this thing on, so you guys can see it's already on, but it did give me somewhat of a trouble putting it in there. First thing is, first, the fitment is actually really tight when you put it on, so you gotta try and wiggle it around. And then the second is dipstick right here actually gets in the way. So what I did was loosen up the bolt that holds it, so I can actually somewhat bend it so that the long tube part of the header fits in. So that worked out as planned. As you guys can see right here, if I can show you real quick. So that does go on right over here, right there. So I had to take that bolt off. It's a 10mm bolt, I believe. Intake is probably the most hassle that I've gone through with installing this header, is because, as you guys can see here, the header goes up this much, and you guys can see that white plug right over here. Something actually goes on there that I had to take up and plug in just so I can fit this header. Goes there is this, I don't really exactly know what it's called, but I think it's a resonator from research online. I think they call it resonator, or it might be this part right here, but either way, this part doesn't fit in there with the header. So I had to take this off. It has a hole, and on the bottom intake, with this intake right here, I just plugged it in with a generic plug. I can't get that, but I went to Home Depot and plugged that in. In Home Depot, I was figuring out plugs that I can use to actually do a sound tube delete. So I went ahead and got this thing for around $1.50 or $2. I'm gonna go ahead and take off this sound tube from the car, since I'm not a big fan of it. I mean, it doesn't bother me, but I was in the store already, so I might as well buy the part to plug it in. So after that, I was able to fit in the headers with no problem, and fitment looks to be okay. And all I gotta do is torque it up to spec and connect it to the overpipe, and I can finally get a sound clip of the cold start and hopefully hear a difference. Whether it's a good difference or bad difference, I'm gonna be there to find out. So finally got the headers on there, torqued out and ready to go. Last thing I need to do is plug in those O2 sensors, and it'll be time for a cold start. So, again, here's the cold start. So that was the cold start, and It wasn't as obnoxious as I thought it was gonna be. Then again, I am on OFT tune, off-the-shelf tune, which has a cold start delete. But other than that, all that's left to do is to put back everything together, give it a couple of revs, and bring it for a test drive. Alright guys, so that is it for this video. If you guys do like these kind of content, please consider subscribing. If you guys can, please give the video a thumbs up. If you have any comments, suggestions, or concerns, leave them in the comments down below. Other than that, thanks for watching and see you guys next time.